Hey there, I'm Emmanuel, and welcome to IfICanYouCan, the channel where I go over real estate and rehabbing properties so you can learn from the mistakes I've made along the way. So today I'm going to be doing something a little bit differently. I'm going to start going over acronyms and jargon in real estate. Now, when I started up, I didn't know what any of these meant. I had no clue, and it felt like I just couldn't get into it, and that people knew so much more than me, and there would be this huge gap that I couldn't cross because I didn't know half the terms that they were using. And I'm used to this because when I was in a service, almost everything was an acronym. So it's just a little thing that you have to do is you have to learn a little bit about what they're saying. And you'll discover once you learn these things, it doesn't seem so hard of a task to get past these. So today, let's jump into it. Now, remember, if you like this content, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And if you want to hear more of these or ones that you want me to explain, leave them in the comments below. The first one I'm going to start with, because I'm going to build into a bigger one here, is LTV. What LTV stands for is loan to value. And all that means is how much of the loan is left as compared to how much the house is worth. So let's say you bought a house for $100,000 and you put 20% down. That means you have a loan for $80,000 because they already have $20,000 at the bank for the house. So your loan to value would simply be the $80,000 divided by the $100,000, which gives you 80%. Now, let's say you put down 5%. Simply the same math. You have $95,000 of a loan and you have $100,000 that the house is valued for. So you have a 95% loan to value. Now, there's some ways this can change. You'll change when you pay down the loan. So as you're making your monthly payments, that number will drop and you'll have a lower LTV. Or you can have where the house appreciates, or both, where if you go from $100,000 to $150,000, but you only have $75,000 remaining on the loan, it's just $75,000 divided by 150, and is a 50% LTV. That's how that works. So not that hard, just simple math. Now the next one's going to be ARV, which is after repair value. And all that means is that if you go and you do some renovations or repairs on a house, it is the value of the house after those are done. So let's use the same example of a $100,000 house. And now let's say you put $50,000 into repairing that house. You can either do sweat equity or you can hire out a contractor. That's really not important. But after it, the house is worth $200,000. That is your ARV. You spend $100,000 on the home or got a loan for $100,000 and you have $50,000 worth of repairs, but the house is not worth one plus the other. It's worth a different value. That value being $200,000. So that's your ARV, which is your after repair value. Now the last one, which is going to put together the other two I just talked about, is BRRRR. That's buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and repeat. It's a common method people use. It's more advantageous in some situations than others, but let's go through that step by step. Now buy, you find a property, and let's stick with the $100,000, easy math. You buy a property for $100,000. It's investment property, so you put 20% down. So what you have remaining on a loan is $80,000, and you have $20,000 that you put into it. Now you got to rehab it. You bought something that was not in the best condition. You got a deal on it. They didn't want to do repairs, whatever it is. Now you put $50,000 into the repair. Okay, so you're into $50,000 for the rehab. So all in with the 20% down on $100,000 and the 50% of $50,000 you're in for $70,000. Okay, now let's say that initial loan, you have a mortgage about $600. And then after you rehab it, you're able to rent that out for about $1,500. Okay, great. You're covering that initial mortgage by a lot, and you have enough margin for a lot of the other expenses that you'll need. Now, second to last step of this is refinancing. So we're going to jump back into ARV. The after repair value, after you put the $50,000 in and you got the property for $100,000, is now $200,000. So guess what? You can refinance it and you can get your money back out of it because it's worth substantially more than what you put into it. So this goes into your LTV. Now, banks, depending on what time and their policies at that moment, will kind of give you about a 75% LTV, which means they'll give you 75% of the loan to value of that house. So if you have a $200,000 loan and 75% of that is $150,000, the $70,000, which is the $20,000 from the down payment and the $50,000 from your repair, that you can get back because you have the $150,000 that you put in minus all your expenses. You get that back. Now there's also other things that come into this, like closing costs and some fees that may come up in this process, but overall you should get your initial money back, which pulls you into the last step of repeating and taking that money and going to do it somewhere else and starting the whole process again with another house. But with this, what you need to keep in mind is that when you refinance, like I said, initially we took a mortgage of $600. When you refinance, that mortgage is going to go up because now you're taking it for a higher value. And let's say it goes from $600 to $1,000. Well, you just got to make sure that what you're renting it for covers that mortgage and your expenses. Your expenses will be stuff like CapEx. You're gonna need repairs. You're gonna need to put some money aside for vacancy, and those are numbers we can talk about later on. Or maybe you're paying for utilities. You gotta make sure that number covers that and you have cash flow on top of that. But when people talk about the BRRRR method and ARV and LTV, that's how all those combine and work together to give you your final value. Now, if you want me to go a little bit more into this and the mechanics of it, please let me know in the comments below. But for right now, that's all I have. And like I said, this is If I Can, You Can, where if I can do it, you can do it. If you like the content, please like and subscribe below. And that's all I have for now. See you next time.